4K, 150 frames a second, max settings. The crazy thing as well is that this is actually the card running in its quiet mode. It's quiet mode. RTX 3080 TUF. It's a big day for graphics cards. We have already seen the Founders Edition, which is looking smarter than ever. This is a glorious little thing, and you can actually find the full video all about this and the build that I've done in the top right corner of your screen. But today is all about this Asus TUF Edition, and I'm really interested to actually unbox this, test out the performance, see its clock speeds, thermals, acoustics, all of that good stuff. And you might be wondering why we're not looking at the Strix first. Well, there's two reasons for this. Firstly, I don't know what's happening in the UK, but we haven't got samples. But secondly, when you look at the pricing difference between this TUF Edition and the Strix, to me, it's looking like this is going to be the one to go for. And unlike the TUF cards of old, there doesn't seem to be too much of a step down versus the Strix Edition. We've got 3 fans this time, unlike a lot of the older cards only had 2. Here we go then. And yeah, this is an absolutely huge, ginormous graphics card. There is absolutely nothing cut down about this whatsoever. We've got 2 8-pin power connections on the front. This is clearly a 2.5, maybe 3 slot card. Looks like 2.5 to me, but this is a big boy. There is no doubt about that. Obviously it is a gaming graphics card, right? But I mean, I'd say it's very tasteful. The fans themselves as well are pretty big. I don't think we're going to struggle with cooling on this. Comparing the 2 cards side by side, you can see that there is quite literally a big difference between the 2. This is definitely a lot longer, a lot thicker, just all round dimensions it's a fair bit larger. There is a bit of a benefit with this though, which is that you do get an extra HDMI, which is nice on this if you're going to be using multiple monitors, maybe like a HDMI monitor and a TV. This is definitely going to be a better bet. But this is a whole lot lighter. It's going to be more compatible with a load of other cases. And in terms of thermals and acoustics, I'm going to be very interested to see the difference between the 2. Don't forget, with the Founders Edition, you have this almost like pull-through design, whereas this is a bit more of your traditional design where we just have these fans blowing all over the card and then leaving it up to you, I guess, to properly plan all of your case airflow to make sure that all of this hot air is exhausted. This is what I would describe as the brute force approach. It has been opened up a little bit with the hole in the back of the PCB, but if you're after something that is a little bit more forward thinking, I guess, then the Founders Edition is probably what you'd want to go for. But don't forget that one of the big disadvantages with this is that you have this horrible, ugly power adapter for the 12-pin that's located on the top, whereas with the TUF cards and pretty much all of the third-party cards really, they do adopt the traditional 2x8 pin, which is going to look a lot cleaner, especially if you already have custom cables. If you're interested in what else is in the box, oh my god, this is ancient. I swear they've been using this exact manual for years and years. I saw this in around about 2011, I must have done. The stuff no one reads, and a certificate of reliability. Ooh. This case is the TD500 from Cooler Master. It is a pretty good case actually. It's mesh, it's got plenty of room, but don't forget that if you plan to put fans and or a radiator at the front of your case, it can start to eat into your graphics card room. Nice clean click. I mean, nothing particularly out of the ordinary, I guess. I mean, very large GeForce RTX branding, which I think we've got the picture now, Nvidia. You want us to know that these are RTX cards. But we've got so much room. I mean, you could quite easily do like a custom loop here and still have plenty of room. So this is what I'm talking about. As long as you've got a big case, shouldn't be a problem. But in terms of the way it looks, I think actually this is nice. Looking forward to getting it turned on. Oh, there's something I didn't even notice. It's got a performance mode and a quiet mode slider. For the avoidance of doubt, I am using 2 separate power connections as I was with the Founders Edition, just to keep this as fair as possible. We do have a little bit of a light up zone, but if you prefer your builds to be a little bit more understated, or you're just not fussed about it, then I think this is going to be a good option for you. There's no RGB pretty much anywhere else actually. It looks like that is your lot, which is going to be one of the main things that you're going to gain by going for a Strix card. But if it was up to me, so far this is the one I would pick. It wouldn't be a PC-centric video if we hadn't plugged the monitor in now, would it? Doom Eternal then, 4K max settings. 4K, 150 frames a second, max settings. It's just crazy. It is absolutely ridiculous. The crazy thing as well is that this is actually the card running in its quiet mode. It's quiet mode. What's that, 157 frames a second with the game running at 4K, ultra nightmare settings. And it's very interesting that they do actually ship it in its quiet mode. So currently, what's this? 165 to 172 frames a second. And what are we getting? 71 degrees. So there's definitely a fair bit of room for overclocking here, no doubt about that. In terms of what it sounds like, by the way, in quiet mode with the side panel off, nothing that's going to disturb you whatsoever. Here we are then in performance mode, and to be honest, I'm not really seeing any big difference in terms of frame rate. The temperature definitely seems lower. Obviously this isn't sustained, we haven't been playing for that long, but the GPU before was at around about 71 degrees, whereas this is at 64. So I'm thinking that this performance mode is only really going to impact temperatures and give you more room potentially for overclocking, rather than like a one-click solution to actually get more FPS. Let's have a closer look at the clock speeds though, because you can see here we're rated at 1440 base, 1785 boost, which is pretty good. I believe the Founders Edition is slightly below that. But when we actually start playing Doom, you can actually see that we're getting way above this. We're peaking at, what's that, 1990 did I see there? 1965. So quite a big difference. This is currently running in the performance mode and it is starting to get a little bit louder. It is a very hot room in here. Righto, I have put the Founders Edition back in and clock speeds are definitely a little bit lower. Not by much, we're currently sitting at around about 1920. So not a huge degree of difference, but you will see a little bit of performance decrease. But of course you can always just overclock your card, right? Both of these coolers clearly have quite a lot of thermal headroom. I have noticed there is a little bit of coil whine at the moment actually on this Founders Edition. It's not bad enough that it would stop me recommending it or anything, but it is something to note. But it definitely is quieter than the TUF card in its performance mode. In the quiet mode, there's probably not too much in it. Cutting away in spectacular style, because I definitely haven't recorded this bit separately, you can see that the 3080 TUF does actually make a decent improvement over the Founders Edition. And to be clear, I'm pretty sure you'd be able to get these same results by doing the manual overclock and using the overclocking software that will come on release day with the 3080, but it is still great to see that you are going to get improvement right out of the box without doing anything yourself with the TUF Overclocked Edition. To be clear, they do sell a version of this card that is not pre-overclocked, and this is the version that's going to be very similar in price to the Founders Editions. But when you look at the temperatures and the cooling solution, while the Founders Edition is a little bit quieter than the TUF in its performance mode, you can see that there is a big difference in terms of the GPU temperatures. I saw a max of 77 with the Founders Edition, whereas only a max of 69 with the TUF cooler. And this is going to be pretty significant. As I say, the TUF is slightly louder, but you can just put this in the quiet mode, which will then make it a little bit hotter. So to be honest, I would personally probably pick the TUF, but I think that the Founders Edition definitely looks like the better card in terms of visuals. I've really enjoyed testing this actually. It's one of these cards that I think does what it says on the tin. It does it very, very well. The overclock on this and the actual cooling solution is excellent. And if I was buying a graphics card, that's what I would be looking for. I wouldn't say it's overly better than the Founders Edition. If there's a big difference in price, then I would just get the Founders, but I think these are going to be in high demand, so I reckon there's going to be a lot of times you'll be able to get this cheaper, but it's likely to fluctuate. You can check out current pricing with my Amazon affiliate links listed down below if you do want to learn a little bit more. But honestly, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you would go for down in that comment section. Please smash that like button. It helps out so much you wouldn't believe. Do get subscribed for more videos just like this, and I will see you in the next video. Go and check out the full build of this, by the way. I'll leave it in the end screen. It's fantastic. You don't want to miss it.